Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a 6 sense for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys, cause I break the chains. They try to hold me, I'ma push back, just wait and you'll see. Please excuse me, your honor, but you can't hold me no longer. Can't you feel the vibrations? I broke out and left traces. Go ahead, try to catch me if you can, man. You'll be looking all night, I'm the Sandman. New York, London to Japan. I'ma show the whole world who I am. Boom, boom, boom. Major look.
Yeah, once again, thanks for tuning in. You're listening to World Combat Sports. Salute everyone on this Sunday. Appreciate everyone for pulling up. If you're in the building, hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? Hit the like button. I say I don't have to tell you, but I guess I do. You know what I'm saying? Hit the like button. You choose to donate to the channel, you can find the information floating across the screen, the Cash App, or you can donate, by hitting that $ at the bottom. You know what it is, another one on deck. This is the Triller Fight recap. You know what I'm saying? For those of you that's in the live chat, man, be sure to drop your comments so we can talk about it. I want to hear your feedback, hear your input on what you think about the fight night. All right. First and foremost, let's get to the co-main event. All right. The co-main event was MMA legend Anderson Silva. He went in there against MMA legend Tito Ortiz. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I thought the fight was going to be much more impactful than the way it was. I thought the performance grade would definitely be outside of the first round. Real talk. I did not see Anderson Silva doing the Philly shell in the corner, even though he's known for his defensive elusiveness. I didn't think that, Tito Ortiz will have that much green, that novice type technique to his striking, because he's been fighting for quite some time. But yeah, I know he had on boxing gloves, but I just thought he'd be able to go to the body a little bit more, or totally understand that Anderson Silva's defense is almost on all 10 each time he stepped into the combat arena. And Anderson was just slipping, moving, just moving his head. He's always known for his defense's prowess. And he caught Tito Ortiz what looked like a right hook. And Ortiz went down. I mean, Ortiz and Evander Holyfield, they dropped. Almost similar. You know what I'm saying? It can be a lot of things. Not having, like Ortiz said, he didn't have a full fight camp. Which, let's not put the fight camp in there, because you took the fight, you was in it for the bag, and boxing was a lot difficult than what you imagine. Period. You know what I'm saying? Period. I'm just gonna be honest. Both of those fighters, in my opinion, they know each other very well. And if Anderson Silva can look the way he did in the first half of the round, then Tito Ortiz, doing his MMA tenure, he should have trained some boxing too. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that proves what I've been saying all along. A person who really truly follows MMA and BJJ, Muay Thai and all that, right? I told you all that boxing training is a lot different than MMA boxing training. It's much different. The movement, the technique, the angles, everything is much different when it comes to a mixed martial artist training boxing, and they're able to throw elbows, kicks, and pretty much set themselves up for the next strike. As in boxing, your aiming point is the belt line up to the head. The head being off limits to the back of the head, but from the side to the front. That is your aiming point. And it's much different. You know what I'm saying? It's the sparring is much different when it comes to boxing training versus MMA practitioners training boxing. So that's what Tito Ortiz had an issue. I don't know why he fought as long as he did, and he really never trained boxing. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if you was a wrestler. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. I mean, you have to train. If you're gonna dog out Wing Chun and dog out the fact that Anderson Silva's idol was Bruce Lee, and you called it BS, that means that Anderson Silva proved to you that his discipline in martial arts far exceeds yours in combat sports, and it proves he knocked them clean out. It looked worse than what it was. I don't know. I know Tito Ortiz was probably hurt some fierce. You know what I'm saying? I think he got caught with a good punch and he was hurt for real. But the fact that the Huntington Beach bad boy could not make it back to his feet, you know what I'm saying? He's saying that Anderson, look, he's saying that Anderson Silva hit him the hardest. He said even Chuck Liddell didn't hit him that hard. So I'm saying Anderson Silva hit you as hard. Was it just the gloves? Because, mixed martial arts, they wear 4-ounce gloves. Was it the heavier gloves and Tito Ortiz stepping through the ropes into a boxing ring for the first time? Was it that? Because, I just don't see it. SB90 in the building. What's good? Salute WCS. Your Triller is a mess. we're going to get to that, Shouty, for real. I mean, I don't disagree with you, man. It's a certain point. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about what SB90 just mentioned. I'm going to get to your comment, man. But, the fact that Tito is known to come in there with the flag and hype the crowd up. He tried to convince the crowd in the post fight that it was his first time and everything. Don't nobody want to hear that. All they know is that you were a mixed martial arts legend. You was a pioneer of the sport, and they expected more from you. Now, this proves in certain cases that your age does play a role. It also includes and entails how much tread do you have on your body? How have you been taking care of your body outside of competition? What have you been doing that somebody else hasn't been doing? You know what I'm saying? So when I see Tito get slept the way he did, it just seems like he was no way, shape, or form. He wasn't mentally or physically ready to step in the square. I mean, that little flurry that he was able to attempt against Anderson Silva, none of the shots was doing anything. You know what I'm saying? And you can tell that he didn't know how to lead and close distance with a jab. He didn't know how to stick that jab out there and kind of get a reaction out of Anderson Silva, who's a great counterpuncher. Not only that, he's a great counter striker too, if it involves his knees or his kicks or whatever when he was in mixed martial arts. But at the end of the day, Tito Ortiz, man, he was just well in the way. Like a boxing tyro. He was just freaking well in the way. None of the punches hurt Silva. Silva's over there slipping the move, doing a Philly shell, being elusive, molding like water, doing everything to make his master Bruce Lee proud. You know what I'm saying? His idol, Bruce Lee. Doing everything to make him proud. And then he stuck him. Down goes Tito Ortiz. People are not going to look at it too bad because Tito Ortiz really don't have a boxing fan base. Now, what Triller is able to do, Triller is attempting to blend in the audience of boxing and mixed martial artists, because look at it. They are having so-called boxing matches with former mixed martial artists that's in the sport. I mean, that competed in the sport. So what they're trying to do is cater to both audience, so there won't be, a lopside attention to the fans that support the promotion. But like SB90 said, Triller has a long way to go when it comes to giving us quality fights. Right now, some of those fights is like the Ringling Barney Bailey circus, man. It's like a side act. I mean, we understand David Haye carried Joe Fournier. That's his boy. You know what I'm saying? That's his boy. They hang out. They probably club together, date the same women. I mean, that's his boy. You know what I'm saying? No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I just look at it like not too many people are going to care about Tito Ortiz getting knocked out, because they still believe he's young enough to recover, if that make any sense. Because in you taking your first fight and you was knocked out in the first round, some people are going to say, oh, he's good. He didn't take too hard of a punch from Anderson Silva, who's also old. But do I want to see it again? No. I hope Tito Ortiz do not think about entering the boxing ring again. But when it comes to Triller, they continue to offer the invitation, send the hallmark out there to these over the hill fighters to contend on their platform. And if you continue to do that and have first round stoppages like this, man, people are not going to attend, or won't they, or will they? It seems like we are transitioning to an entertainment stage when it comes to combat sports. Like, people are willing to see matches that they know aren't going to be competitive, but they just want to be there to see the individuals compete because they've never seen them in life. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people never seen Evander Holyfield compete. Same for Vitor Belfort, the phenom. Anderson Silva. Tito Ortiz. They just seen YouTube highlights of watching their fights whenever that was, if they are a connoisseur of both combat sports. But y'all have to understand, like I tell you before, hear me out. In order for you to truly understand the magnitude of combat sports, you have to focus more on more than one combat sport. You have to really dive into watching film and understanding the system. You know what I'm saying? The system of more than one combat sport. You have to dive outside of boxing, because when I was growing up, more than one is always better than just learning a single subject, right? So learning more than one subject or topic or anything in life is better. It's better to read more than one book than just a single book, and then all you talk about is that single book. But in this case, you have the option to study more than one combat sport that's pretty consistent with striking. It's just a plethora, a plethora of platforms out here that you can study combat sports. So when you actually talk about something like Triller and why is boxing and MMA being blended, and then those of you that cover boxing, those of you that cover MMA, I say the same thing for MMA fans. It's better for you to switch over and watch boxing also, so you can kind of understand how the system works for both. Certain individuals that just cover boxing, they don't understand how a fighter like Vitor Belfort can come in here and perform the way he did against Evander Holyfield. And we're going to get to that. But at the end of the day, they're fighters. Vitor Belfort is a fighter. If anyone who wanted to, follow him back in the day, understand that the man, he had fast hands. When he knocked out Wanderlei Silva, the man had some very quick hands. And coming into this fight with a promotion like Triller, there was no drug testing, there was no physical. All the protocols that you will see in a sanctioned fight was absent. It wasn't required, y'all. So when you get Vitor Belfort coming in there with all that muscle mass, I was like, Evander may be in trouble early. He may be in trouble. But I was going for the real deal. Of course, him down in the A, fighting as much as he did, boxing. I got respect for Evander Holyfield. But also, I've been following mixed martial arts since it wasn't a sanctioned sport. When it was bare knuckle, when it didn't have a time limit, when there was no holds barred. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of things that I look at when it comes to boxing. People say, "Oh, it's this and that. It's brutal." I'm saying some of the shit that went on in mixed martial arts was brutal. Being soccer kicked in the head, punched in the groin, fish hooked, trying to throw you out the cage or the ring, depending on if you was fighting overseas or in garrison here in the U.S. Let's talk about Evander Holyfield and Vitor Belfort. I look at it like this, Shawty. When it comes down to it, Evander Holyfield looked terrible yesterday. King Mitch in the building. What's good? Said, come back. What's up? What's good with y'all in the building, man? She, we here. What's good, man? I'm seeing you in a minute, She. Appreciate you pulling up once again, man. Evander Holyfield looked terrible, man. I'm just going to call it for what it is. It's nothing against him. And don't be in my inbox talking about, you from the A. Evander is from Alabama. But yes, we got mad love for him down here in the ATL. And he did wondrous. I mean, I'm talking about he did a lot, boxing out of here. But check this out, though. 58 years old, man. He looked every bit of 58. In there with the guy like Vitor that has fast hands. I don't know what Evander's team. I don't want to make the assumption that a lot of people was just there for the ride. You know what I'm saying? They jumped on the carriage and they rode that motherfucking broke ass donkey into the motherfucking arena. And they thought they was going to get an outcome other than what they experienced. Their mental experience told them. Their mental experience told them that this is a fight that's going to be trouble for Evander Holyfield at 58 years old. If they did any type of research, they would have looked and seen that Belfort has very fast combinations. Also, Belfort has been known to take pads. If you combine fast hands and pads at 44 years old, he's still young enough to come in there and put that lightning pressure on Evander Holyfield early and overwhelm him. And that's exactly what he did. That's exactly what he did, man. Evander Holyfield, he thought it was going to be a filling out process. It was going to be some touch jabs. It was going to be some respect from Belfort. Belfort and Anderson Silva are Brazilians combat sport practitioners. They are legends over there in Brazil. You know what I'm saying? And Vitor came out there with a mission. He came out there with a mission to destroy Evander Holyfield, man. Now, one thing that checks the box with Triller is the fact that none of these fights seem like they was fixed to a point. You know how people say, oh, man, you're setting up these names and it was garbage. Like they try to say that Ben Askren and Jake Paul was fixed. But you leave no question with these. These two knockouts right here with Vitor Belfort putting a pause on Evander Holyfield at 58 years old. I commend the referee for stopping the fight. Because Evander Holyfield can say what he wants, But it's good the referee stopped the fight because it could have been worse. Vitor Belfort was in the first round. He was fresh and he was very, very dangerous. And you cannot tell me that Evander Holyfield wasn't in a position to get hurt seriously. You know what I'm saying? He could have been hurt to the point where, it could have went bad for him after the fight. Not so much in the ring, but after the fight. He can say what he want. Talking about, hey, the ref, he need to chill. He should have gave me more time. No, you 58 years old, man. If Evander Holyfield dies in the ring, blood is on that referee's hand for not stopping the fight on time. And sometimes when you see two individuals like this, especially the legend in the real deal Holyfield, they might expect the referee to show them that homage, that respect, and say, well, guess what? I'm going to let this fight on. Yeah, if he was a little bit younger, let the motherfucker go. Let the fight go on. But in this particular scenario right here, no way. With Belfort, no drug testing. Come on, man. Your team should have threw in the towel. Real talk. In this scenario, at 58 years old, with the wars that Evander Holyfield has been in, it was correct stoppage. When I seen him fall through the ropes the way he did, I said, man, his coordination, his mechanics, just the physical connectivity, neurologically, is off. You know what I'm saying? Shit is not wired correctly right now. You have some glitches in that month. You know what I'm saying? His corner should have threw in the towel. Instead of seeing Evander Holyfield go through the ropes and then, touch the canvas again, and people up here, acting like they looking at somebody, they're slipping all around. No, this wasn't like when we seen Jerry Hurd and Luis Arias. This wasn't slipping all around the ring. None of that shit when it was raining down on the canvas outside. None of that. This was absolute domination of a boxing legend over his heel of competitive prime, and his corner should have thrown the towel in and saved that man. For Evander Holyfield to take the walkout on the post fight and say the referee need to chill and he wasn't hurt. Come on, Vander. Come on, dog. Vitor Belfort was in the first round. He would have destroyed. Man, he would have destroyed you even more, man. Please don't come back to the boxing ring. Enjoy your retirement. And that's why boxing needs some type of stipend to support these fighters. Vitor Belfort could have put Evander Holyfield in a very bad situation if that referee wouldn't stop the fight. What y'all think about that? Mitch say, gorgeous, marvelous, magnificent, astounding, astonishing, super necessary, beautiful KO by the Spider Anderson Silva. So happy to see Tito and his stupid ass eyebrows get slept. Made my night. Yeah, Tito Ortiz, a lot of people dislike him, but he was a pioneer of mixed martial arts in the UFC. Does he get underneath people's skin like a splinter? Absolutely. Absolutely he does. And he never wavers from his personality. So I don't have no problem with, the way Ortiz was talking shit about Wing Chun and Bruce Lee and all that BS he said. I don't have no problem with it. But he got his ass whooped that night, yesterday. He got demolished, man. And he said, that was the hardest he's been hit since Chuck Liddell. I'm like, of course it is. You wearing boxing gloves, homie. You know what I'm saying? Of course it is, dog. To the win at 58. Listen, to the win at 58. I hope he's not trying to get a win at 58. And I hope he don't call himself trying to go for a title run. You know what I'm saying? I hope not, please. Somebody get with Evander's team. We don't need to see him back in the square, man. We have mad respect for you down here in the South. Don't do it, man. You're a boxing legend. Don't do it. 2 weeks notice would be an excuse for anyone else. However, more training time wouldn't have helped Holyfield. He's simply too old and a few lifetimes past fighting shape. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Like Listen, that gym shape, that nutrition shape is different than when I say in gym, that gym shape, I'm talking about going to work out. I'm talking about going to work out, doing anaerobic and aerobic exercises. Okay, that's different. But stepping into a boxing gym, it separates everything. You know what I'm saying? If you're going in there to get in boxing shape, that shit is absolutely different than going in there to work out. So, you know, you can continue to look a certain way and present yourself, you know, while you're touring and everything. And people say, damn, Evander look good. He's in great shape. Yeah, that's different than him splitting the ropes and answering the bell. That shit is quite different, people. And that man almost looked like he couldn't stand up from the momentum. He made Vitor look like he was Thor. It's almost like Vitor he was swinging the motherfucking hammer in that. Evander was falling all over the place, looking like Bernard Hopkins through the ropes, man. Man, somebody get with his team. Tell him don't let Evander back in the ring, man. He's going to end up, you know, trying to sit up here and compete on Triller, who's basically not drug testing these cats. And you just come in there for a free-for-all like you showing up to the playground. You know what I'm saying? You got cats in here looking at this with a smile. Vitor looked at this fight with a smile. He was like, hell yeah. I'm not getting drug tested. What? When Mike Tyson said that they're not going to test, you know, basically said they're not going to test for weed. He pretty much put the SOS out there. He put the smokestack out there for everybody to know. I'm doing what the hell I want. I'm going to smoke weed before I step in the ring. I'm going to feel good, and let's go in here and fight. And that's what it was, man. So fighters that's showing up to Triller, just like SB90 said earlier, a lot of people do believe that Triller is the wild, wild west of combat sports right now. It is. It's the wild, wild west, man. You might, you know, roll into the motherfucking town. You see some cats fighting, and then you keep going. You might go up in and see somebody playing the piano and singing. You know what I'm saying? Like the old days, like the saloon. You know, people there playing cards. You know, you'll see a lot of shit popping off, and that's what Triller has going on. He has a combination of entertainment. That's what Triller has popping off right now. And for the fighters' advantage, it gives them the time to jump on some performance enhancing drugs, get themselves in shape, and go in there in the ring. And need I say, the ring is much smaller than the regular that you see beneath the lights. You know what I'm saying? It's a much smaller ring, so it forces them to fight. Come back. Who would you like to see David Haye fight next? Shadow. I would like to see David Haye fight his shadow, because him fighting Tyson Fury, no, I don't want to see him fighting Tyson Fury. But his shadow, yeah, I want to see him fight his shadow. If he can win without going to a draw with his shadow, then maybe I would throw a name out there. But he carried Fournier, and nothing to Fournier. Salute to Fournier. I had the opportunity to interview the millionaire a ways back, and shout out to Fournier, man. You know, as a businessman, he's doing what the hell he's want to do. But him and David Haye are friends, and that fight was a bunch of BS. Period. He carried him just like Floyd carried Conor. David Haye carried Fournier to a decision. Floyd Mayweather dropped off corner at the bus stop. He said, "Oh, station number 10. Station number 10. They rung the bell and goddamn Floyd pushed his ass out the door. They wasn't friends. But everybody knows that David Haye carried Fournier last night. So to answer your question, his shadow, man. Bruce goes in the building. What's going on with you, Bruce? Salute, Scott. World Combat Sports. Salute to you, man. Appreciate you pulling up. Everybody's in the building and the live chat this Sunday morning, man. I want to say hopefully church was great for you. Some of y'all might be at church right now texting. The church has changed, man. You know what I'm saying? I was gonna say I hope church service was okay and everything, but it's pretty early to be out of church right now, especially down here in the South. You know what I'm saying? They haven't even started the sermon yet. Mitch say, fair to say, current Mike Tyson would kill that Holyfield we saw last night. Man, check the box on it. Check the box. Yes, sir. Mike Tyson right now. Oh my God. Well, the Holyfield that we seen last night, Mike Tyson may absolutely see food, and he was probably on the phone. Hey, you see that? You see that Holyfield fight? Set it up. No. Matter of fact, let me stop because Mike Tyson said he's not fighting on Triller no more. So let me stop. But he was probably on there saying, I kill him. I kill the guy. I eat his children. My Holyfield can't fuck with me right now. Not off that performance right there. No, he's done. Mike Tyson's sitting at 54 years old right now, but geez, let me tell you, he looked way better than Holyfield when he fought Roy Jones. Roy Jones and Mike Tyson set the standard when it comes to boxing legends when they fought on Triller. That shit was actually entertaining, man. D Hodges, OG, what's good with you, man? What's up, World Combat Sports in the chat? Salute, OG. What's good with you, D Hodges? Appreciate you pulling up. TJ Boxing and Sports on deck. What's good, my brother? Salute at WCS. I felt bad for Holyfield. Don't feel bad for him. I mean, he went out in the first round. I would have felt bad if the second round would have sounded now. If the bell would have sounded the second round, now I'm feeling bad. Because Tito Ortiz, he looked strong, he looked fast, and he doesn't even look like he was coming close to being hurt anytime soon in that fight. So if it would have went to the second round, I think the beating he took in the first, I'm talking about if that shit would have went entirely the entire way and he sat down on the stool and came up for the second round, it would have got worse for him. And like I said before, his corner should have threw in the towel, but once again, he might have told them, whatever you do, don't throw in the towel, man. Because look, I look at it like boxers like Holyfield and many others, they might look at this as a way to get paychecks at their age. I'm talking about quality numbers now. Quality numbers. So if they corner throw in the towel and stop the fight, Triller would definitely look at that like, we don't need them back on deck no more. We don't need them here. We need performances. We need for you to fight to the death. We need for you to fight to the end. That's what I'm getting from Triller. I don't know if Evander Holyfield will get the call again. You know what I'm saying? I hope not, especially on Triller because they're not drug testing. And that's very dangerous for an older fighter like Evander Holyfield. Who he's going to fight next? Tyson? Yeah, people come to Triller to see, but Tyson said he ain't fucking with Triller no more, to be honest. Bruce said that fool 50 Cent was talking to Holyfield Tyson fight after the first round KO. What's he's on? One thing you have to understand, look back at the reels on the commentating. Look, Triller commentating, you cannot take that shit serious. That's just a place for people to get together if they are sober or inebriated to talk shit. And I don't know what 50 Cent was talking about. I know at one point in time 50 Cent wanted to get into the boxing arena and be a promoter. He wanted to follow the Floyd shit and all that. But him and Floyd, two egotistical cats, they fell out. But look back at it. Look at it when Oscar was on there. Look back, when Snoop, when he commentates. That's quite different because the fighters can actually hear the commentators talking shit about him. I don't know what 50 was doing. Like, I don't think he showed Holyfield respect to a sense because Holyfield is a legend, man. You talking about hip hop versus combat sports. I don't know, man. Two different areas of profession. But Holyfield is an official certified legend of boxing for what he was able to do and who he fought. 50 Cent, on the other hand, he's known to be a hip hop artist. I wouldn't consider him a legend, but when you look at the older generation, the younger generation, it takes a lot for them to render that respect. Like, a lot of people respect Mike Tyson for his juvenility, his criminality, what he was able to do in boxing. The dude was a tyrant before he started boxing, while he was boxing, and pretty much, you fuck with him and catch him at the wrong time after boxing, you get fucked up. Mike, look, Mike Tyson is a prime example of the general public that support boxing to embrace somebody who's been to prison for rape, who's did all that shit, fought at the pressers. That's what we like. That's my era. Look, Mike Tyson was in my era. I liked it. I'm not gonna lie. I like that type of stuff. So when I see the heavyweights do it today, it's not a problem with me. I just have a problem with the audience on the way they judge, the way they are very judgmental and critiquing shit this day and time as if it didn't happen back in the day. You know what I'm saying? But Mike Tyson, man, they treat him like a god in person. They treat him like a boxing god, man. Ill Flex Lewis. That's why I love your channel. You keep it. What's going on, Lil Flex Lewis, man? Appreciate you pulling up, man. Thank you for the dang kind words, my brother. That was more of a Trump rally than a sporting event. Yes, man. Hey, I ain't trying to talk about that guy. You know what I'm saying? They paid that man a lot of freaking money. I think the producers for the N50 ear, he asked that question abruptly in the middle of Holyfield stuttering. I'm gonna tell you some stuff I know for a fact, right? The individuals who run Triller is pretty much on board with being an off the cuff promotion, an impromptu promotion when it comes to commentary. They don't want you sitting up there being all nice and easy and formal and speaking all calmly about. No, they want you to speak your shit. They want to act like you at happy hour, you chilling with the fellas and y'all drinking, smoking, and y'all talking shit. That's what they want. That's real talk. I know for a fact. I know that to be true. I was supposed to be down there for this fight, but I changed my mind. You know, Triller actually turned me on to the Olympic wrestlers that went. The Olympic wrestlers that was down here in Georgia. That I had a chance to go up there and check out these Olympic wrestlers that's competed in the recent Olympics. But anyway, back to the topic though. Holyfield stuttering and everything. Everybody knows that Holyfield took damage during his career. And once again, let's not sit up here and not address the biggest elephant in the room when it comes to Holyfield being approved to take this fight. They approved Evander Holyfield to take this fight with no physical at 58 years old. They approved Evander Holyfield to go in there and compete with a guy that's 14 years younger, his junior. That's also considered a legend in his genre of combat sports, and Vitor Belfort. Vitor smashed Holyfield last night. Destroyed him. Seriously. He destroyed him, man. He should never fight it. He should never fight again in there. Please. Lamar Odom ain't nothing close to Vitor, but there's a potential for the same thing to happen to Riddick Bowe. That's a good point, man. When you hear Riddick Bowe talk, everybody's body is different. When it comes to, you hear the two words being punch drunk. right? Everybody is wired different. Everybody cerebral cortex is different. The reason why I say that, I know some fighters that's younger than I am that has fought on the lower tier, never made it to the higher tier of professional fights, right? And their speech is slurred. They'll sit up here and talk to you, and sometimes they will be spitting on you because they're trying to get their words out, and they think they're getting their words out, but they just don't know how their physical mechanics is failing them. So, when we speak and our lips are moving and our tongue or is in unison with what we're trying to say, because you won't be understood unless your tongue is in your mouth. Period. That muscle is important, right? So when it comes to boxing, you have these young fighters who have taken upon themselves to be in crazy sparring matches, um, traveling for a check and get beat up with those damn 14-ounce, 16-ounce gloves, whatever it is. They're just taking all this punishment, and they're younger than me, and they're slurring their speech already. So when it comes to Riddick Bowe, I've heard a lot of things about Riddick Bowe being broke and all that, and you never hear me talk about a cat's money. But Riddick Bowe is bad. Like Riddick Bowe, I'm telling you, you really can't understand a lot of what he's talking about. But looking back at Riddick Bowe as a active fighter, he never really had that speech that you can say, he was clear. The audible was there. The clarity was there. He always had that low, speech that you really have to pay attention to. But right now, I don't want to see him go in the ring. I don't want to see him fight. Look, I don't want to see Riddick Bowe even fight Lamar Odom. You know what I'm saying? That's too. It's a mess, man. Just like it's a mess over there. I don't want to see Lamar Odom's coming off beating a guy. Come on, man. I'm not even gonna mention his name, but I really don't want to see Riddick Bowe because Riddick Bowe, oh man, he sounds bad. He's overweight. Oh man, anything can happen, man. I look at it like this: Lamar Odom was in a different sport. So the way these matchmakers are matching some of these guys up, we don't expect Riddick Bowe to take too much punishment from Lamar Odom. The end of the day, Riddick Bowe was a world champion. He knows defense of anything. So if you take a boxer, just like Evander Holyfield said that Vitor Belfort was one in trouble, no, you was in trouble because mentally you gave yourself the opportunity, you gave yourself the favor to say, I can still do this. Riddick Bowe may go in there against Lamar Odom and say, I can still do this. I know how to put my hands up. I know defense. This basketball player is not going to hurt me. So, man, somebody tell Riddick Bowe. I don't know, man. Tell him what's up, man. King Mitch said, man, F Tito. The guy Eclipse said Silva looked good and Evander looked sad, to be honest. Man, Vitor looked real strong in there. And I would actually purchase the PPV to see Vitor Belfort, okay, fight Jake Paul. Now, we are talking about two different weight classes. All right. So Anderson Silva and Tito Ortiz was at cruiser. All right. Evander Holyfield and Vitor Belfort was at heavyweight. Who's going to have to make the substitution? Being that Jake Paul is no longer with Triller, he's over at Showtime. Pretty much Vitor Belfort is attempting to get the bag. And I would like to see that fight, man. I would definitely like to see the fight with the smaller ring and Belfort fighting Jake Paul. It'll be great. That is a 44-year-old fighter that on Triller, he would do great. But I'm not sure if anybody else, Showtime, drug test and everything before the fight. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think for these little exhibition fights, with Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather and Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley. I don't think they drug tested, man. Real talk. I don't think so. Peace to you, OG. Salute to the chat. Man, salute to you, OG. Appreciate you pulling up there, Mike. Real talk. Very knowledgeable cat right there, man. You should have your own channel. Real talk. You should have your own channel. Bruce said he made $500,000 with maybe another half from PPV. I hope this is it for him. He made good. Paying taxes and everything. He's still coming out with the bag, man. I ain't mad. Look, one thing I don't really get into is the money aspect of people's pockets. I don't get into that. But how they make their money, and is there going to be repercussion and consequences in how they made their money is my biggest concern. Like if you owe like Evander Holyfield and you believe you should try to come back and fight on Triller again, and let's just say Evander Holyfield is clean. He looked clean last night, if that means anything. I'm not talking about showering clean. I'm talking about he looked clean to a point where he wasn't overly bulked up. You know what I'm saying? He looked cut. I mean, he looked like a 58-year-old man that's in shape. Now, for Vitor looked different. You know what I'm saying? He looked heavy, put on muscle, and, come on, man. Come on now. I think Oscar De La Hoya would have got destroyed. Period. Oscar De La Hoya would have got destroyed. We all know that. But good point there, Bruce. 50 showed Holyfield respect by not laughing at him hysterically. He actually held it together. He was more professional than I expected. Okay. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not really putting too much emphasis on 50. He did what 50 had to do. You know what I'm saying? But Triller, if you're going to be on behind the mic on Triller, they want you to be yourself. They want you to talk your shit like you with family, like you at a cookout. They don't want to hear that nice, calm stuff that you're talking about. It was only in Florida because California wouldn't allow it. Correct. Absolutely right. Florida and look, Florida is one of those nesting beds where they have crazy damn storms. They have exotic animals running all around the place. So what better way to bring the circus to that? You already have all the exotic animals going around eating up house pets. You know what I'm saying? People disappearing in lagoons. What better way to bring the damn fight down there? Because it doesn't make any sense. Florida don't care. Florida was one of the first footprints to open up while the pandemic was active. That was Florida, dog. Florida didn't care. They said, "Oh yeah, come down here. We're gonna open up, and you can actually put on a fight without an audience. We don't care. Come on down here. Let's go." I salute them for taking a stance. I salute them in a sense to being able to make the decision. A few years ago, Lamar Odom was in a medically induced coma for a week. He almost died, and now he's fighting Bo and a sideshow that's killing boxing. Well, let's understand this, Bruce. I'm probably not telling you something you don't already know, but check this out though. Lamar Odom being in a coma due to drug use, in my opinion, outside of my medical scope, would be quite different than him being in a coma for being punched in the head. Now, caveat to your point is the fact that I'm just assuming that the chemical damage from drug use should be slightly different than the physical damage that a person can take that places them in a coma. I'm just assuming here because this is outside my medical scope of anything. You know what I'm saying? When it comes down to him being in a coma for drug use, OD, whatever, and you know, being asleep in that perspective should be quite different than him stepping in the ring because there's been plenty of drug addicts that go into a coma. And you know, when the body's chemically dependent on something, that shit can happen. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to him being punched in the head by Riddick Bowe, I'm not saying he might not go back into a coma. Real talk. He may not go back into a coma. I mean, he may indeed go at the drug use vice the physical damage. The drug use damage vice the physical damage of him going back in. Yeah, my bad. TJ said at WCS, my wife said the same thing about Oscar getting destroyed. I agree. Your first crowd venue was Daytona Beach, Florida. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Florida ain't scared to put on an event, especially when the pandemic was up, on its way. It wasn't even over yet. And Florida said, I'll step up. I'll be the first ones to open with no crowd. Cool. Lamar Odom putting on gloves is not killing boxing, just a celebrity fighting. Shit don't really qualify as boxing, in my opinion. True. You can't sit up here and excoriate Lamar Odom for putting on gloves when you're not doing the same for two individuals such as Jake and Logan Paul, who was never professional athletes. These cats was never professional athletes. I don't care how much wrestling they had at the lower tier. They was never professional athletes. Their videography skills and them doing vines and videos, okay, they was able to amass a large following, but besides that, it's out the window. You can't compare these cats to Lamar Odom, who played on a professional NBA level. Appreciate that little flex. Appreciate it, man. Shit like Rigo versus that fake ass Pacquiao is killing boxing. Not Lamar Odom. Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. But I want to know y'all take on, do y'all believe Evander Holyfield at 58 years old, assessing his performance last night, should he come back to the ring, period, in general, on any platform? I would say no. I think it's very dangerous for him to come back and still be in denial that he wasn't hurt. Evander Holyfield, you was absolutely hurt, and just do us all a favor. I mean, please don't come back to the ring, because you might be seriously injured, and all those kids you have is family. All those kids Evander Holyfield have is family. You know what I'm saying? That's his family, man. But also look at it like this too. Once again, I don't like comparing the two, but I'll sit up here and say, Evander, you have family and everything, but then I have to look at it like, when we're in the military and we go to deployment or combat, we have family too. But we're in a position where we can't miss a movement. We can't say we don't want to go over there because we got family. We get punished for it. But when we do go over there, we totally understand that we have family and we may not make it back. Evander Holyfield understands that he has family. But I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, why he would step back in the ring at this age. He might have seen Mike Tyson, Roy Jones. I don't know. I mean, the physical anatomy is built different for people. That's all I can say. It's built different. And 4 years separate Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson. 4 years. But when I see Mike Tyson, hitting the mitts, it seems like, I don't know, Mike Tyson mitt drills, with a little bit of speeding it up a little bit, clip jumping. He looks impressive. Then I see Evander Holyfield go in there and do an open workout, look sluggish, and it was absolutely on point. Evander Holyfield open workout absolutely mirrored how his physical condition is and his lack of coordination right now. His attentiveness is off. It's very slow. If they would have gave Evander Holyfield an eye test as far as, trying to determine how his brain function is, I think he would have failed. His legs were stiff. It just seems like he had enough know-how to put his hands up and be defensively, sound to a point. But those punches that was coming, even hitting off his gloves, Evander was moving all around the ring like you hit him with a bat. He don't need to step back through the ropes, Evander. They said Evander threw the fight to get Tyson in the ring. Man, please. He was throwing himself through the ropes. Man, Mike Tyson, man, get in the ring. We're not gonna see the old Evander. 4 years separate Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield. I can't even believe I'm saying this, but me not being a smoker, it seems like somehow, some way, it might be the toad. It might be the toad that Mike Tyson's talking about. But Mike Tyson looked for 4 years, the junior of Holyfield. He looks more impressive at this stage. And he smokes. Hot boxing with Mike. Holyfield, in a sense, looked the healthiest out of the two, but Mike Tyson looks more ready. You know what I'm saying? Looks more physically ready to step in the ring with Holyfield. I'm just being honest. That's my honest assessment, y'all. This is they had to say. Hold on for a second. So this is what they had to say at Boxing Scene, right? It said Vitor Belfort immediately showed Saturday night exactly why retired 58-year-old former heavyweight champion had no business whatsoever entering the ring for another official fight. No business, y'all. It goes on to say right here. It said Bellator floored a dangerously faded Evander Holyfield in the first round of their 8-round heavyweight bout and stopped the iconic champion soon thereafter at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida. Referee Samuel Burgos understandably erred on the side of caution and stopped the bout at 149 of the opening round because Belfort was unloading unanswered shots on Holyfield, who turns 59 next month. Now, what does that tell you? This is what Evander Holyfield said. The guy is strong, but I wasn't hurt, Holyfield told Triller Fight Club blow-by-blow announcer Todd Grisham. The thing is, it wasn't no shot that really hurt me bad. That's delusion. He was strong and he hit me with the shot, and I was off balance, and then he bumped me with his shoulder. Holyfield goes on to say, describe his experience in the heavily criticized PPV main event as kind of sad, but it is what it is. Holyfield goes on to say down here, I think it was a bad call. I think the referee should chill out. He shouldn't stop the fight that quick. And when you hear somebody like Holyfield talking about it, the referee should chill. He shouldn't have stopped the fight that quick. I'm like, Holyfield, you may have taken too many punches. You was looking very, very bad. And the fans outside that support you still and respect you, they don't want to see you go in here and be in great shape the way you are. And then somehow, some way you leave out the ring and you end up going into a coma and find out you was bleeding on the brain. I never expected Zab Judah to be in the hospital the way he did. I look at Zab Judah as this tough individual, man, that's going to, be about that smoke regardless. But I never thought that Zab Judah would go down the way he did and be in the hospital. At first, when I heard the news, I was like, damn, that ain't all the way true. And it was, man. Boxing ain't to be played with, man. Evander been in way more brawls than Tyson. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But when it comes to us all being in the 50 age group, we talking about the tread on the tires. Yes, Evander has 4 years on Tyson, and he's been in some wars, more authentic wars than Mike Tyson. But on the outside of boxing, right? Outside of competition, Mike Tyson smokes all the time. Evander Holyfield basically maintains a sense of salubrity, healthy lifestyle in his nutrition. That's why you see him all the time. He's not fat, overweight. He still looks good outside the competition. But like I said before, the workouts are different. The workouts are absolutely different. When you're talking about going in there doing boxing workouts, vice gym workouts, where you go in there lifting weights and getting on the treadmill and all this other shit. Vitor has nothing to celebrate. It was an early stoppage. BT, stop. Stop it. Vitor absolutely had, it wasn't no early stoppage. No. I disagree. Bro. You know, but make your point, man. Like, why do you think it was an early stoppage? Elucidate. You know what I'm saying? Why do you think it was an early stoppage? Bruce said the 44-year-old man, the 44-year-old me would have kicked the shit out of the 58-year-old me. That's just fact. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? That is, look, that 40 and those 50s are distinctively different. Seriously. When it comes to moving around, feeling the arthritis, you know, the way your body is looking. It's different, man. It's different, man. 40 years old, people consider that old, but no, your 40s, you're still able to do some things. You know what I'm saying? It's people that's in their 40s, they still get up and run all the time. You know, it's some things they did from 40 all the way to 49 that they look back on and say, damn, I can't believe I did that. But when they turn 50, you know, you have to check your blood. You have to make sure your levels are good. There's certain checkups you have to get done. 50s are different, bro. You know, so all you youngins out there, enjoy that. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy those 30s, 40s. Enjoy that shit. What's good, Andrew Charles, man? Salute to you, bro. That was scary with Judah. I might be wrong, but I think he fought again after that brain injury. I don't know, man. I cannot confirm or deny. I'm not sure of that. I'm not sure Zab fought after that injury. I'm not. I wouldn't check the box on that. Real talk. I wouldn't do it. Appreciate you pulling up, my brother. Real talk. Holyfield is a genetic freak and will look ripped to the day he dies. Yeah, man, he's pretty much always been that guy. He was a smaller heavyweight, but yet he had that physique. You know, he had that head. You know, I think Mike Tyson proved to us that that head that Evander Holyfield has above his shoulders, right, is more so a helmet. That it may be some titanium damn encasing internal to that head, because Mike Tyson lost his wits, man. He said Evander Holyfield was headbutting the shit out of him. So that's why he lost it and bit him on both ears, because he felt Evander Holyfield was doing that shit on purpose. You know, he felt it was done on purpose. So with that said, though, there's still tissue. Over time, that tissue up there where, you know, the oxygen that we receive to the brain, right? It has a lot to do with our daily functions. Our smell, those 5 or 6 senses that we have, our mechanical functionality. The brain has a lot to do with that. And when you're being punched in the freaking head and jolting that back and forth, taking that damage, then going through recovery, that's when the lights start to flicker a little bit. You know, like a low wattage bulb. That shit doesn't stay on like it used to. They asked Evander Holyfield a question, and he's up there trying to process it. I get it. He's been in a rough sport, and he's much older now. And believe it or not, it's only going to get worse, man. Will him happen to really process and take time to process what somebody just asked him? Real talk, man. The lights is not firing like they used to. And if he keeps on fighting with no headgear, I mean, I don't know how much sparring he had before this fight. But I'm pretty sure Vitor Belfort, he has some sparring. Brazil, it has plenty of guys you can get off the street and come in there and take a beating. That's what they do. Under normal circumstances, the stoppage could be considered early, and I'd agree. But when a 58-year-old legend is taking shots, it's a good stoppage. Yeah, man. Like, we're not really doing in hindsight there, Mitch, for this circumstance. All right. Respectfully, we're not reflecting in hindsight as if there was two younger fighters, because we've been around the sport of boxing enough to know that makes sense. That shit makes sense in hindsight, right? It may be a short stoppage. But in this scenario right here, it wasn't a short stoppage. Evander Holyfield deserved to show respect and to salute the referee for stopping that fight. His mindset is, I've taken more punishment in earlier fights in my career. I've been here before. Well, guess what? We know that. We respect you for that there, real deal. We respect you for taking and showing your warrior spirit. But right now, 58 years old, with all the punishment, you're probably 68. You're probably 68 years old right now, boxing years, with all the tread on the tires and the punishment you receive, inside, outside the ring and sparring and all that, all the camps you had. You're probably like 68, 70 years old, physically. It may not show with the way his physique, you know what I'm saying? His aesthetics. But when it comes down to him moving internally and that brain telling him what to do, I think that's where the problem lies right there. Solid point, man. Solid point. Andrew said he might not have fought after that, but I was surprised to learn that Zab was still fighting on these small, almost underground cars. Damn. Okay. I didn't know that. If he was still fighting on the underground cars, man, damn. It must have been soft touches, man. Very soft. I'm talking about marshmallow at the campfire soft opponents. You know what I'm saying? Out of Target parking lot, asking a cart holder to come in and fight soft. I mean, seriously. They used to call it punch drunk. Now we know it. CTE is real. Absolutely. Absolutely. CTE is real. Football, any contact sport, CTE is real. Absolutely. I agree with that. And, tell me this, Bruce, do you think punch drunk holds less weight? Like when you say CTE, people always look at it like, well, what medical evidence do you have to say it's CTE, right? Even though you and I and a lot of other people that follow say, okay, something's going on with CTE with this fighter. But the slang term around the sport, listening to some of these fighters, what would they say? Punch drunk. Punch drunk is more adequate terminology to place upon a fighter because it requires no medical evidence. You know what I'm saying? It requires no examination. It's just saying, oh, did you hear so-and-so? They were stuttering. Man, they don't been in boxing too long, man. I mean, somebody need to tell them they punch drunk. They can't think of this, that, and the other. But to say CTE, they're kind of finding out through thorough examinations. And if a fighter have any chance of returning back to the ring, sometimes they don't want to get a CTE examination. A lot of CTE evidence and findings is coming after the fact when the fighter is either on life support, you know what I'm saying, or they've already passed and they're able to do examinations and give a result that say, hey, so-and-so has CTE damage. You know what I'm saying? So You know, people look at it like that. Like you have a slang term, punch drunk, that a lot of people use when they just run into fighters and they're slurring their speech and they can't remember stuff. And then the CTE, which is absolutely real. Like the CTE is the more formal term to identify fighters that has damage to the cerebral cortex, man, their brain. Yeah, real talk. Punch drunk is easy to say and makes it seem like a less severe. I absolutely agree with that, man. Absolutely agree with that. Mitch say Holyfield might be blessed though, genetics, but it's movement and lifestyle that force him to look ripped. Stagnation will move all that rip shit, no matter what genetics you have. You right about that, man? I'm checking the box on this for real, because, like I say, plenty of times throughout this live, you can go to the gym all you want. You can have a nutritionist. They know you're Evander Holyfield. Oh shit, that's Evander. God damn. You know, everybody want to work with Evander. Whoever he has right now that's working him out, if he has a PT, you know, his nutritionist, whatever, whoever that is, they want to maintain that position of employment. So they're gonna make sure, you know, even he might have a personal chef. And he's up here maintaining his weight and all that. They ain't doing the shit for free. So they want to maintain employment. They want to make sure everything is good to go. So he has that luxury lifestyle, so to speak, of eating certain foods and staying ripped and looking good for the public. Because Evander Holyfield and tours and stuff like that. And I commend him for looking the way he does at 58 years old. Still having a six pack. You know what I'm saying? That's damn outstanding. That's very outstanding. But you sitting around outside that ring and you're not really, you know, hitting the mitts or getting in there and moving around and keeping those legs. You know, at that age, he's saying, why if you don't have a fight? Why am I going to continue to go to the gym and step and put in all this wear and tear on my body if I don't have a fight lined up? Just look at when the news initially hit the airwaves that Evander Holyfield was coming back. They showed a video of Evander Holyfield jogging in front of a camera down the street, and he looked every bit of 58. Every bit of 58. And people's like, he don't look like Mike Tyson, because Mike Tyson, look, Mike Tyson really didn't show you videos of him running on the street like that. Like Mike Tyson showed you edited clips that they sped up and showed him hitting the mitts. They gave you the back and forth, side to side, you know, Mike Tyson. They gave you the monster version of Mike Tyson. They gave you the edits of his trainer acting like he never held mitts for a boxer in his life when they showed the clip with him and Mike Tyson. I mean, they did an awesome job. They did an awesome job, man. Evander had former Mr. Olympian Lee Haney as his trainer. Make you wonder, though. Make you wonder about what, Bruce? And look, look, being that I followed, you know, the bodybuilding back in the day, I know Lee Haney very well. I've seen him in person. I know him. Lee Haney, in a sense, I can see where you're going, you know, but Lee Haney was one of those guys who thrived in providing the public that he was a clean, you know, like he was a natural dude. Like we all know on that level of competing when it comes to bodybuilding, that ain't the case. I know that ain't the case. But if Evander Holyfield's out of competition, Bruce, I can see where you're going with it. Him being 58 and looking the way he does is phenomenal. And I can see where the attachment with Lee Haney would say, hey, he probably knows what to take to keep himself that way. But we are seeing now, check this out. We are seeing individuals who went through the speculation process of potentially being on something, how it's affecting their organs and their kidneys at an older age. They did what they had to do in their younger years. And a lot of these cats who went through the speculation process, they have health problems, severe health problems that's going on right now. So, it just comes down to, I don't know. I mean, to each his own when you're out of competition. If you want to do what you're doing to maintain that physique, why not? But don't be Oscar Valdez and Canelo Alvarez. I'm just saying. Don't be mad at me. Don't jump in my. I don't like what you're saying about Canelo. I don't like what you said about us. It's the fact, man. Oscar popped. That's what it is. Don't get mad if Evander Holyfield went, the fight on Triller. I look. I said this about Vitor Belfort. I don't think he clean. Real talk. And them fighters that's showing up to Triller to get in shape for the Triller card, man. Probably a lot of them cats ain't clean, man. That's just my my OP. They all had Chad Nicholas as their nutrition. Hey, man. If you're talking about I have to look up Chad Nicholas. Man. Who is that? Who is Chad Nicholas? Is he another one of those guys who was known for, having the satchel full of goodies? Who is Chad Nicholas? I don't know who that is. Provide the EDU for me. I'm always good. I'm always open for education. Have you seen Ronnie Coleman lately? Drugs have a price. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to jump off topic about the whole NPC situation, bodybuilders and everything like that. But even Flex Wheeler, Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie Coleman's had multiple surgeries on his spinal, his vertebrae. Man, he's had multiple surgeries on his organs. I mean, crazy. Anybody who followed Ronnie Coleman back in the day, this guy used to lift insane amount of weight. And he was multi-time Mr. Olympia. And Ronnie just didn't care. He did everything he needed to do to be big. I don't think Ronnie Coleman conscious will allow him to go to sleep, not knowing he was one of the best in the world. And he was built that way for a long period of time. But now, going through all these surgeries and everything, man, it was just crazy. And then Flex Wheeler, he started having health problems. He's lost a leg. Flex Wheeler, man, he lost a leg. It's just so many bodybuilders, man, that sacrifice everything at that point in time in their life. And they get to this point where they have to go in the hospital and have organs removed because they're destroyed. They're done. But yeah, I've seen Ronnie Coleman, man. I looked at all his videos, all the multiple surgeries that he had. Man, that shit must have been crazy. And then he's still trying to get back in the gym and look a certain way. That's a guy. He's lost a part of his sanity to be normal. For Ronnie Coleman, people, he's so used to walking in the ring. I mean, not the ring, the room, and people saying, "Damn, that's Ronnie Coleman. That's Ronnie Coleman right there." When I seen him in person, I didn't think a guy could be that big. Like I've seen him in person, Jay Cutler in person, when they was competing, and these some huge ass cats. But Ronnie Coleman, man, that dude was absolutely crazy. He used to walking in the room and people saying and ooh and all that other stuff. So I think he's lost a part of his sanity, knowing that his physical degradation is taking over his life, and he won't be able to get that size no more. It don't matter how much juice he on, he won't be able to do it. He won't be able to do it, man. And unfortunately, Ronnie might pass away early because he's tore his body up so much through the physical detriment and the internal detriment. It may be no turning back. It may not be no saving Ronnie. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, people. And my last topic, man, I always like to close it out with some bits and pieces. But I would say topics. I really hope Gervonta Davis and Rolly Romero fight. I really, really hope this happens. Rolly Romero, he's a different type of cat, man. People say he's not a fighter. He is absolutely a fighter, but Rolly isn't a boxer. All right. Rolly Romero is that dude that, if he was gang affiliated, he would be the one that really want to step up and take the fight and prove. He would be the crazy one, the loco one in the game, in my opinion. Real talk. Just to prove how tough he is. But I really hope him and his fight with Gervonta Davis, if it's going to happen, I hope it really does. Because I just see that fight being absolutely brutal. I do. I see it being life-changing. Now, it can play out in a sense of Robbie Lawler and Rory McDonald. It could potentially play out like that. I don't know, because that took the soul of both of those fighters in MMA. Both fighters have somewhat crazy power in their own right. But stylistically, Gervonta Davis can adapt more than Rolly Romero can. He can inflict more damage because he has a better set of options to do so. He's more technically disciplined than Rolly Romero. But Rolly Romero, he has some screws just rocking around in there. So I don't think his ring IQ is high enough to do anything more to take the punches of Gervonta Davis and keep pushing forward, taking punishment, just to try to get in on Gervonta, cross facing like he always loved doing, and trying to land some hard shots. It's all on how long the fight lasts. Because put it this way, if Rolly Romero is so used to taking punches and he doesn't care about the punishment, then Gervonta Davis is definitely going to be able to oblige him. But then with that comes, okay, if Rolly Romero finally slows Gervonta down and he lays on the ropes a little bit, then we will see if he's able to land some shots and see what the effect is with Gervonta. Now, it can happen. It can't get to a point where Gervonta is saying to himself, I'm hitting this guy with everything in the kitchen sink, and he just keep on coming forward. Now I have to go to boxing him, because if I don't box him, I'm going to break my hands. You know what I'm saying? I might end up injuring myself trying to knock this dude out. Keon said he was retarded. That shit was funny. I mean, he say, in a sense, I totally understand what Keon was talking about, because you take a guy like Rolly Romero, he don't know how to say, no, let me tighten up a little bit. Let me switch it up and let me try to box Gervonta. He can't do it. His ring IQ isn't there. Gervonta is level above Rolly Romero when it comes to the technical discipline of boxing, the sweet science. Teofimo Lopez, man, listen. Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos is supposed to happen, right? So when it comes down to it actually going down, it's supposed to happen, all right? But peep this out. Bob Arum, this is the thing I don't like about boxing. Bob Arum has mentioned that he's pushing for Teofimo Lopez to face Vasil Lomachenko. Vasily, however you want to mention, in a rematch, all right? Bob is looking to get his money back, being that Teofimo restructured the contract and all this other shit. But word is coming out that the boxing fans, when it comes to the media, word has come out that Teofimo Lopez is looking to face Josh Taylor at 140 rather than face Vasil Lomachenko in a rematch. Now I'm looking at it like, which will make more money? Teofimo Lopez still having the belts, all right, at 135, and facing Lomachenko in a rematch, or him moving up to 140 and facing Josh Taylor with all the belts at 140. You have to really contemplate that. You say, which would do more views? Teofimo Lopez bringing his star power up to the 140-pound division for undisputed, or Lomachenko, what little star power he has remaining, stepping in the ring again with a rematch against Teofimo Lopez. Which one of them will heavy the scales a lot more when it comes to the fans' perspective? What do you want to see? Would you rather see Lopez fight Lomachenko at 35 or see Lopez move up to 140 and fight Taylor for the undisputed championships? Both are good fights in my opinion. But I give you my choice. I would rather see Teofimo Lopez step outside lightweight, 135 pounds, to junior welterweight, right? And face Josh Taylor for the undisputed titles. Because Josh Taylor will be a good fight stylistically for Teofimo Lopez. I want to see that fight instead of him stepping in there again against Lomachenko. The reason why I'm saying what I'm saying is there's a lot of ducking and dodging that's going on at 135 pounds. It is. I think Lomachenko, you should go over there and try to fight someone like Devin Haney or something. Go over there and make a fight with Lomachenko and Devin Haney. I know you sit up there and stop Masayoshi Nakatani, who Teofimo Lopez had already beat. It don't matter how it happened. It just happened. But I'd rather see Lomachenko fight, a fighter like Devin Haney that has a WBC championship. Real talk. Come back. What's your impression of Conor Benn? I think he's a joke for calling out Broner and Khan out of all the welterweights. What's another name that's being tossed out there for Conor Benn? You know what I'm saying? There's another name that's being tossed out there for Conor Benn. That's a tough opponent. Tell me if you know who I'm talking about. Now, for Broner, okay, it's potentially he may outwork Broner. But as far as the tickets, people coming out to see that, yes, Broner still brings that starlight to a name like Conor Benn. So I'm not against that. I'm not against Broner coming in to fight Conor Benn. I'm not against that because Conor has that flash too, man. Amir Khan, I don't care too much to see him in there with Conor Benn. I'm just being honest because though Amir Khan is known for his quickness, his combinational speed, his volume of punches per se, I just don't want to see him in there with Conor Benn. Conor Benn needs someone in there to complement him. He may go in there and catch Amir Khan. If he indeed catches Amir Khan, which is highly possible, because Amir Khan's chin has been tested, and a lot of the time it doesn't add up to the diagnostic. The diagnostic shows red, and Amir Khan's chin is just that. So I wouldn't want to see him go in there and knock out Amir Khan because other people have done that. But Broner, yeah, I like to see Broner in there with Conor Benn. Broner has not been stopped. All right. Adrian Broner has not been stopped. So for Conor Benn to step in there with 10 rounds with Adrian Broner, yeah, I want to see that. Absolutely. Absolutely. I like how Rolly has talked himself into a possibility of landing some big fights versus Haney and Tank because he really ain't shit as a boxer yet, but he got his name out there. Check this out, Mitch and everybody else, right? You know how I told you all when they always talking about how talks are in, so-and-so's in talks. Crawford and Porter in talks. Thurman and Crawford is in talks. They always saying that shit, right? So when Rolly was talking about retirement at one time, and then, he comes back and talk about how he wants Gervonta Davis. And then he jumps on the mic and he was criticizing Haney and getting real personal about Haney and his pops and all that. But yet, Team Haney had to make shirts with Rolly's face on it because they didn't hear shit from him. They was like, missing in action is Rolly Romero. Now, will I watch and pay if that fight was on PPV with Devin Haney and Rolly Romero? I would, man. I would, because it's two factors in there. The boxing skills of Devin Haney versus the brawler and Rolly Romero. Two different styles, but I think they will clash real nice in a fight, especially with the championship on the line. You know, I'm talking about the WBC. I'm not talking about that belt Rolly has. I'm talking about the WBC. And, I'll pay that. I'll pay that. But will it happen? I don't think so. Will Gervonta and Rolly happen? We'll see. Either way it goes, Rolly and Tank both have power as boxers and fighters, right? Devin Haney has a high level of boxing IQ that he can just about outbox Rolly the entire fight if he wanted to. It's all about if Rolly doesn't say no mas like Roberto Duran did to Sugar Ray. That's what I look at when I see this matchup between Devin Haney and Rolly Romero. I see that fight between Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran that time. I see Rolly Romero getting frustrated, especially if Haney is elusive and he's in and out and he's making Rolly Romero miss. I see Rolly getting frustrated and just saying, fuck it. I quit, man. He ain't trying to fight. No shit, he ain't trying to fight. Because he ain't trying to get knocked out. No shit. But see, one thing Haney showed us, right, is that in his fight with Jorge Linares, he can get in there and mix it up. But goddamn it, when you take those gloves up against the face and you try to return with a counter and Haney's nowhere to be seen, then that's a problem. That's the frustration builds. And no one can convince me that Rolly Romero has the patience of a Jorge Linares. He doesn't even have the boxing IQ of a Linares. So just imagine him stepping in there with Haney and Haney giving him that front door service. And he can't touch Haney. He's going to get so frustrated and start trying to foul, man. Look, I might be the first to say it. I think Rolly gets disqualified if he steps in there with Devin Haney. I think he'll try to hit him down low a couple of times to slow him down, cross-facing, do some dirty tactics, and get DQ'd. At least if he get DQ'd, he can basically say Haney never beat him. He was being a pussy. He was running around the ring. He didn't want to fight me. And we'll say, man, that's bullshit, Rolly. You got frustrated. I think T.O. versus Taylor is a bigger fight, pinning the dominant win over Kambosos. Absolutely. I agree. I think it's a bigger fight. I really don't want to see him step back in there with Vasil Lomachenko. Bob ain't giving Haney no top gang fighters. We'll see, man. I picked Mikey Garcia over Ben. Mikey Garcia isn't beating Conor Ben right now. It's not happening. I don't see that happening. And I have mad respect for Mikey Garcia and what he's trying to accomplish. You know what I'm saying? But I don't see Mikey Garcia beating Conor Ben, man. Seriously, I don't see it at this point. Broner needs 2 tune-ups before a Ben fight at this point. It ain't happening, man. He cannot take a tune-up at this stage. Like, people need to understand that Adrian Broner isn't that old. He isn't that old now. And I don't believe Adrian Broner is washed up. I just believe Broner is in a point in his life where he's going through some things and it's affecting him as a fighter and getting fights with the promoters and everybody else because, I'm assuming that Broner is stepping up to the plate and he's demanding a high check for his services. He's demanding a higher price tag for his services. And I think with the promoters, they looking at it like, hey, you ain't going in here winning no fights, man, like with the big names. So we really have to, really scrutinize what we should give you $8 to $10 million for this fight. We need to be able to recoup our money. I don't know. I wish the best for AB, man. That's a real one right there. Never change the script, man. Shout out to the problem, man. That's boxing these days. Self-promote of another boxer's name. That's what it is. But it's called capping too. It's called capping. It's called lying. It's called being deceitful. Too many boxers are using other fighters' names, knowing damn well they're not going to fight that person. But they'll sit up there and say, "Oh man, I want to fight this guy and that guy." Everybody get all hyped up and go up here and do a live on it, knowing damn well all it is a SOS. That's it. They just sending up a smoke signal for attention, and nothing else happens. That's all. AB is not old at all, but he's been inactive as of late. Ben is a tough out at welterweight for Broner. I agree, man. Conor Ben, man, I like his style. I like his showmanship. I want to see him step in there with some bigger names. For real. I want to see him step in there with some bigger names. Shout out to Adrian Granados, but he had the Sebastian Formellas. He had the damn Samuel Vargas. Now it's time to change levels. You're in a division that has some dogs in the dogs in the cages. So Conor Ben's doing what he needs to do. You know what I'm saying? Just continue to increase your competition, and that's what it is. And lastly, shout out to us being within 30 days, inside 30 days of a potential Triller of Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. I know a lot of steam has came off this fight, but it's still bomb squad all day. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. Nothing haven't changed. But I'm hoping everything comes down to the rumors being untrue about Tyson Fury getting beat up in sparring, to the point where he might not show up October 9th. But I don't care. If somehow, some way, Deontay Wilder is able to fight for his belt, no matter who it is, if it's Dillian White, if Tyson Fury vacates his title, so be it. I don't care about anything else that's going on with Tyson Fury on people feeling sorry for him. If he's unable to step in the ring for this trilogy, come off the WBC, and let's see Wilder fight somebody else. Let's put another face up in there for him to sleep. It don't matter. If it's Dillian White, cool. I like to see that. I love seeing Dillian White getting laid out like that. I love it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he just have laps and take Wilder out of there in record time. If he's not able to pull out a Belfort versus Holyfield, he loses attentiveness in there, and he end up getting slapped, man. The hardest punch in the game right now, Wilder, will have no problem sleeping Dillian White. No problem. And it would absolutely be before 7 rounds. Absolutely. I'll say he finished Dillian White in 3 rounds. So if Fury's not able to step up and make this happen, I hope Mauricio Don Juan Suleiman is able to work some shit out, strip Tyson Fury of the belt, so we can move on with this heavyweight division and potentially see Wilder face Anthony Joshua. That's what the people really want to see. They want to see Wilder versus Joshua. You can talk all the talk about Fury, Joshua, but people know that shit's gonna be boring as hell. You know what I'm saying? I'll take Danny Garcia over Ben as well. Yeah, Danny Garcia, man, he just doesn't go in there and get knocked out. He can take punishment. But I think Ben outworks Danny Garcia, to be honest. I don't know, man. All that punishment Danny Garcia has taken, especially in his last fight against Errol Spence. Veteranship, yeah, I would say Danny Garcia, but I don't know. Conor Ben is looking good right now, man. But you know what it is, man. Appreciate everyone for pulling up. If you didn't hit the like button, you still have time to do so. Support the channel always, man. Look for the notifications. Just click on YouTube and look to the left and see if I'm live. You know what I'm saying? You can click on YouTube, look to the left and see who's live if you don't get the notifications. The subscriptions, if you subscribe to the channel, appreciate it. Pass the word to others. And until next time, I'm out.